the team lose, it should be some way both of them could advance, but I know that's not possible.
I know one team is going to be exuberant following this game and the other very downtrodden that the season's going to end. Here's Royal just making sure he stays in bounds and does so, as he'll get taken down behind the line of scrimmage for a loss, but the final timeout being used by Clay Central. Good sportsmanship is a top priority for the AHSAA and our member schools. While you enjoy this outstanding event, please give all student athletes your positive support and encouragement. Booing, taunting, and derogatory remarks directed at opponents or contest officials are unsportsmanlike and unacceptable. An outstanding ball game tonight, and hopefully we'll have another one next week wherever we will go as far as our FNN High School Football Game of the Week for the quarterfinal round here on the NFHS Network. And site to be determined, I imagine we'll find out pretty shortly as far as over the weekend or into early next week where our destination will be for the quarterfinal round. I tell you what, Eddie, you could go all around the state of Alabama tonight and have a hard time finding a game as good or better than what we've seen tonight.
You're absolutely right, hey.
And here's the snap and the kneel down for Brendan Bird. As it appears that Gulf Shores will need just, I think, one more snap before closing it out tonight. A long way to come from the beach from Gulf Shores, about a 4.5, maybe a 5-hour bus ride to make it from Gulf Shores all the way to Ashland and Lineville here in Clay County. But I'll tell you what, when you go on, you know very well, Eddie, when you go on the road and you're able to come out with a hard-fought W, especially the farther you have to travel, it makes that trip back home even better.
Absolutely. And I think you'll see him snap that ball with about 2 seconds left. And
there's the final kneel down of the ball game as the Gulf Shores Dolphins survive the trip up to East Alabama from the Gulf Coast, as the Gulf Shores Dolphins advance to the quarterfinal round of the Class 5A playoffs with a 26-21 victory over Clay Central in a thrilling ball game tonight. We'll take this time out, begin our postgame, and wrap it up here on the FNN High School Football Game of the Week on the NFHS Network.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of J.D. Hess, Danny Shears, Fred Wilson, Carolyn Henderson, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. Beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you are considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. You will be glad you did.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas,
as far as tradition of high school football excellence in this state, these are the type of games that have helped build that long-lasting tradition of football excellence in Alabama. Gulf Shores comes back and pulls it out in the fourth quarter on the road, 27-21 over Central Clay County, as the Volunteers will drop to 9-3 to close out the season, and for Gulf Shores improve to 11-1 on the season. Our next presentation, as far as our FNN Game of the Week, we'll have our debut FNN basketball Game of the Week on Tuesday, as we'll make the trip over to White Plains as the Oxford Yellow Jackets will take on White Plains. Our debut for the 2022-2023 FNN basketball Game of the Week, so it should have a couple of outstanding teams going at it on the hardwood Tuesday night, and we'll find out in the next few days or so, certainly at the latest by the beginning of next week, as far as where our quarterfinal trip will be for the FNN High School Football Game of the Week on the NFHS Network. A big thanks to all of our sponsors, including State Representative Steve Hurst from House District 35 for sponsoring our kickoffs, and Wellburn Cabinets for their sponsorship of our second round game tonight. And there you see all of the fine folks that helped out behind the scenes. So for my man, Coach Eddie Bullock, off to my right, and also for Jim Jacobs and the rest of our crew behind the scenes, James Hardy wishing you a happy Friday night and a good weekend as you've been watching the FNN High School Football Game of the Week on the NFHS Network.
Check, 1, 2. Ref mic check, 1, 2. Good.
a pair of Bulldogs look to take one more step toward completing what both of these teams hope to be a championship journey as we present to you the Class 4A quarterfinals from the heart of Anniston, historic Lot Mosby Memorial Stadium, as the Andalusia Bulldogs make their first trip up to Calhoun County since 1977. And a happy Game Day Friday wherever you are watching us from on our FNN High School Football Game of the Week on the NFHS Network. James Hardy with you, and a good friend of Calhoun County as far as the football community here in this part of the state. White Plains High School head football coach Chandler Tyree joining us as our guest color analyst with Eddie Bullock on assignment tonight. And Chandler, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for Anniston, first looking at them, this is an historic season for them because they're at 11-0 on the season, making their way to the quarterfinal round of the Class 4A playoffs. And this is the first time that Anniston has gone undefeated at this point of the season since 1992.
And we know how good they were in the late 80s, early 90s. But this Anniston Bulldogs football team may be one of the most well-rounded 4A football teams that I've ever seen. And I've been able to see the Leeds team from 2015 that was really good, the Hanley team from 2016. But in person, this Anniston team they fit the bill. They do everything right, and they have some athletes and some big players.
And you mentioned the athletes as far as Rico White squad this year. This is our third time that we've seen Anniston this year. As they also, as far as the times we saw them against Jacksonville and Handley. And the first thing that impresses me about Rico White's squad, you mentioned just not only the athletes, but really the SEC caliber athletes. And it starts with the right tackle in Raquez McElderry, but also quarterback Cam Sandwood.
You know, you got them, and then you got Jay Money that plays in the secondary for him. You got the Cunningham kid. Everybody talks about Sandlin and McElderry, but they have other players than just them two. And if you punt it, if you are brave enough to punt it to Jay Money, you better be ready to go cover, because he can take it to the house anytime.
And then this is they're going to face one of the most well-disciplined teams that they've faced all season long in the Andalusia Bulldogs, as they come in at 11-1 on the season. Their only loss coming toward the end of the season at home to Catholic Montgomery. And when you look at Andalusia, and it all starts as far as the leadership at the top with newly inducted, or soon to be inducted, I should say, head coach Trent Taylor, who will be inducted this spring into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame.
Coach Taylor does an outstanding job. I had the opportunity to coach against him in 2015 in the quarterfinals. And when you cut on the film, their teams are going to do the exact same thing that they've been doing. They're going to play well. They're not going to turn the ball over. They're going to run the football, especially with their stretch play. They love the stretch play, and they're going to get in some unbalanced formations. They're going to try to formation you to death, and you got to be disciplined with your eyes, and you got to be able to get lined up.
And we mentioned as far as Anniston's SEC caliber players, but although only a junior, Jamarian Burnett, that'll be the featured workhorse running back for Andalusia, he's got quite a few SEC offers, and I'd be shocked if he's not playing for an SEC school, Chandler, in a couple of years.
Yeah, and like he's listed at 6'2", 205, and me and you were talking earlier, and he's every bit of 220. You get a high school back that runs like he does, and you get that stretch, and he sticks his foot in the ground and gets vertical north and south at 220. That's tough to bring down for high school athletes.
And let us not forget, as far as tonight's ball game, we're in the heart of Anniston, Alabama, and fittingly, tonight's ball game presented to you by the City of Anniston, as they invite you to the City of Anniston with museums and gardens winter market weekend coming up. This 3-day event will offer an amazing array of items. Shop for delicate and detailed jewelry, glasswork, handcrafted decorative accents, and a lot more. Best of all, it's free to browse. Shop the public sale from today through this Sunday during regular museum hours. And for Anniston, it has been an historic season so far, and they're facing one of the more disciplined teams as far as well-coached teams in Class 4A. But we saw a couple of well-coached teams go at it right down to the wire, not too far from here in Clay County, as Gulf Shores made the long trip up for the second round of the 5A playoffs from the Gulf Coast last week and survived their trip to Clay County. So here's the snap and the straight ahead give and big running room for Heflin as he could go. 40, 30, 20. He's going to go. Touchdown, Volunteers. Back to throw. Bird will step up under some pressure, needs the 40, and he's going to get that and more as the drive stays alive. Here's the snap and the jet sweep, really the pop pass to Royal as he will turn the corner, gets the first down. The back split in the shotgun, and this is going to be Royal on the call, up the middle and in for the touchdown. Showing blitz toward the Volunteers as here's the keeper for Bird as he'll maintain his balance and get the first down at the 2-yard line. So it'll be the give to Parker as he'll get wrapped up and taken down for a loss. Low scoring ball game between these two squads. As here comes Parker wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. In fact, behind the line of scrimmage for a TFL. There's this give to Heflin as he'll turn the left side and gets the first down. Chris will give off to Heflin. Has running room, gets the first down. Harris under pressure, throws, and it's intercepted. It's Jackson with the interception for Gulf Shores as he's still on his feet, still running with the football down the far sideline, and he could go, cross it, cuts across the grain, and gets to the end zone for the touchdown. We are underway here in the third quarter as here's a big kickoff return for Parker as he advances it down the near sideline. And the second down and now 17. As here's Bird to throw, pump fakes and now throws down the field, has a receiver and that's caught at the 2. And in is Ronnie Royal for his first receiving touchdown of the night, a 37 yards. Heflin gets the call up the middle and he breaks free around one man and he could go. 30, turns on the Jets at the 15 and out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Harris under center pitches it back to Heflin, trying to turn the corner near side and cuts it up and scores. Give him 6. Touch. Here's the toss down the field and an outstanding defensive play that time by Keeson Lindsey to knock away that deep ball. Blitz coming as under pressure and going down will be Harris. As the throw near side is intercepted. This could go to the house as McNeil gets the interception for Clay Central as he'll return it inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. Bird to throw. He'll throw down the field and it's caught on an outstanding catch for the first down by Ross. Delay give to Gardner up the middle, has room and the first down to the third down snap as Royal back in the game. Gets the call, first down and the touchdown.
To feel that time, and Clay Central played it well, and now you're probably going to see just a fade route.
Here is the fade route indeed, as excellent defense as that ball is knocked away, incomplete. It's on the roll as he'll throw over the middle as that is incomplete. Lindsey, the intended receiver, as the ball goes over on downs, whether it's an interception or an incompletion. Either way, on fourth down, it's going to be Dolphins football.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now, these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNN Spirit Debit Card. You can learn more at fnm.bank. Member FDIC.
Hello, I'm Johnny Warren with Anniston EMS, and we're proud to be a part of the excitement of high school football games by providing emergency on-site services for local high school games.
Anniston EMS provides this area with skilled, innovative, and dependable emergency care. As the area's only public safety company, Anniston EMS features dedicated employees who provide patients the highest quality pre-hospital care available. When you see Anniston EMS, you're seeing the best care possible.
Play hard and be safe from all of us at Anniston EMS.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of J.D. Hess, Danny Shears, Fred Wilson, Carolyn Henderson, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you are considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. You will be glad you did.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
From the heart of Anniston, as we're counting down to kickoff as far as the 4A quarterfinals from Mosby Memorial Stadium in Anniston, as the city of Anniston presents our FNN Game of the Week on the NFHS Network. James Hardy and White Plains head coach Chandler Tyree with you. Here in Anniston, as the city of Anniston would like to remind you that the new downtown Christmas tree lighting is coming up in a couple of weeks on December the 1st. At 5 o'clock. But tonight, one of the marquee games across the state of Alabama. But when you get deeper and deeper in the playoffs, there's a lot of big ones and a lot of marquee games going on across the Yellowhammer State, as we'll also bring in our very own Jim Jacobs to take a look at some big games from around the state.
Hey, glad to be with you guys from down in the trailer tonight. Kind of cold. I'm glad to be indoors.
I tell you, I'm happy to be indoors, too. And when I saw the forecasted temperatures for tonight, I knew I was beyond thankful that we were going to be in an enclosed booth tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about games on tap. We'll start down on the lower divisions in Class 1A. Lynn at Coosa Christian. Coosa Christian in the fog last Friday night knocked off a team we all thought had a good shot to go to Auburn. That, of course, Spring Garden. What do you think, Coach? Lynn at Coosa Christian tonight?
First off, what a win last week by Coosa Christian. I think they got beat 27-0 in the regular season by Spring Garden, but I think Lynn's just going to be too much tonight. I think the trying to come back down from that big win last week is going to be tough on Coosa Christian. I think they're doing a great job. They're going to be tough for years to come. But I think Lynn may be too much tonight for him.
Yeah, I think, Coach, you're making a pretty solid point as far as Coosa Christian really getting to the mountaintop as far as their season, really their program's history in the AHSAA, but having to repeat that this week against Lynn, I'm not so sure if they're quite ready to do that yet. So give me Lynn, even on the road, to pick up the W tonight.
All right, let's push on. We got a bunch of these to get to tonight before we finish off and get ready for kickoff here at Lot Mosby. B.B. Comer and Reeltown tonight. Couple of really good football teams. They're playing this one at Legion Stadium. I think that may give Comer a shot, but Coach, Reeltown's awful solid. Reeltown's
really good. They always are good. But I think Coach is doing a really good job at B.B. Comer, and they have some really, really good players over there. Give me the home team in this one because it's pretty evenly matched, I believe.
Yeah, I think, give me the home team on that one, too, especially in the postseason. Give me B.B. Comer.
All right, next up on the slate tonight, we'll push on into 3A. 3 teams, Coach, from the same region playing in the quarterfinals tonight. Geraldine and Sylvania, both of them upset teams last week that we maybe didn't think they were going to beat. Now they get to go at one another again. Sylvania won it in the regular season. Can they do it again tonight at home up on the mountain?
Both of these teams are really good. Saw them on film when we were looking at Westbrook Christian. Geraldine saw them against Hokes Bluff as well. They have a really good defense. Sylvania does some really good stuff offensively. This one's tough. I'll go with Sylvania because they're at home, but I wouldn't count out Geraldine in the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, I can see this going right down to the wire tonight, but Sylvania already defeating Geraldine as well in the regular season, and I think they do it again in the postseason.
It is tough to beat a team twice, though.
All right, here's one of the matchup games in the state tonight. If anybody's going to head Piedmont to keep them from going to Auburn, I think they're going to face them tonight in the high school version of the Green Bay Packers. The Gordo Green Wave tonight at the Field of Champions.
I believe that Piedmont has prepared for this moment when they played their mid-season game against Anniston. I don't see them playing a team that's going to be more athletic or bigger than Anniston in 3A. So Piedmont's at home. It's tough to go into the Field of Champions and win. Give me Piedmont.
Yeah, it's tough to go in there. I think that there is one program that can do it in this state. It's Gordo, but I don't think they do it tonight. It's another game that's going to go right down to the final play.
I like Piedmont to advance on to another semifinal matchup. Next week it'll be against either Geraldine or Sylvania, and they'll host regardless as the region champion. All right, next up, Hanley at Montgomery Catholic. James, we saw Hanley earlier. Of course, they did not have Jay Haynes in the backfield. He was nothing more than a decoy dressed out. But, boy, I tell you, Montgomery Catholic, they're everything. Hanley wasn't that impressive here against Anniston. What do you think? Has Coach Larry Strain got something up his sleeve tonight?
I think he does, but I don't know if it's enough against one of the best teams in Class 4A in Catholic Montgomery that provided Andalusia their only loss of the season. So I got to go with Catholic Montgomery tonight.
I think that Jacksonville proved last week that Montgomery has some holes in their defense. I think Hanley will be more ball control. Jay Haynes is a touchdown machine. So I think Hanley's defense is a little bit better than Jacksonville's. So I think this game's going to be a lot closer than some of the experts across the state think, and I like Hanley.
All right. Well, Coach is calling for the upset in this one tonight down in Montgomery as Hanley advances on if they can get the win here coming up later on tonight. Next up, Deschler and Aniana. This one ought to be a good one, guys.
Give me the fluff. Their running back is the real deal at Aniana. Give me Aniana at home.
I think being at home, it helps Aniana a lot, and they've had recent success as far as the postseason with this roster. So I think just the experience will help Aniana get a slight edge along with the home field advantage.
You're exactly right. There's something to be said when you're used to winning and went to the state championship last year.
I tell you what, guys, Deschler is dangerous. I like Deschler on the upset tonight at Aniana. Next up, the Green Wave heads over to the Gray Old Lady to face Ramsey this evening. And, of course, Leeds has had a ton of success. Chandler mentioned it earlier, that 15 team that went undefeated, won the state championship right there in Birmingham at Legion Field. Can they pull it out tonight against a team that everybody says is just bound to Auburn?
I don't think so. I think Ramsey's just too athletic, too big. I think they beat Leeds, and ultimately we get a matchup between them and Pleasant Grove to see who can go play at Auburn.
But I do think Leeds does have an outstanding defense, one of the best defenses in Class 5A, and an outstanding line of scrimmage offensively and defensively. I like Leeds to pull it out on the road tonight.
All right, Green Wave versus Ramsey. I think it's Ramsey's night. I'm with Coach. I think Ramsey and Pleasant Grove are on a collision course. All right, Cherokee County at Randolph. If the Warriors win tonight and Aniana wins, they'll play the semifinal at Center next Friday. If it goes some other way, well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. If Deschler wins and Cherokee County wins, I think they play at Deschler. If Randolph wins and Deschler wins, from our perspective, who cares?
I'm just thankful right now that Cherokee County moved to the north. It's not in our region again. Seeing how we would have had 3 teams fighting for a trip to the semifinals if they were still in our region. I think they go on the road and take care of Randolph, but I think they've got to play better early than what they had the first 2 games of the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, when we saw them against Piedmont, that really got their season going as far as that 21-14 victory. And really, they've been consistent for most of the season. So I like Cherokee County to keep their season going with a road win tonight.
And that brings us to what we came here for tonight at Lott Mosby Memorial Stadium. It's the showdown between the Anniston Bulldogs and the Andalusia Bulldogs. Andalusia's only loss to Montgomery Catholic in the region. That puts them second in 4A Region 1. Nobody's touched Anniston this year. 4A Region 4 champs. What do you think, guys?
I think this ought to be a very interesting ball game. You certainly have the athletes when it comes to Anniston that can play in space, but as we already talked about to open up our telecast tonight, you have one of the most well-coached teams and disciplined teams as far as Andalusia coming in tonight with a Hall of Fame head football coach, actually for the second time, really the second week in a row that we'll have seen as far as playoff football. So it'll be an interesting matchup, some interesting storylines, Coach.
I think it's going to come down to 5 plays and turnovers. Whoever wins the turnover battle. When you get this late in the season, the teams are usually pretty evenly matched. Who's going to take care of the football and who's going to make those 5 big plays? It's going to be the difference in the ball game.
Looks like the Andalusia Bulldogs coming out of the locker room off to our left, and Anniston will be coming out shortly. So let's go ahead and pay some bills, and we'll have more of our countdown to kickoff as well as opening coin toss and kickoff. The 4A quarterfinals from Lot Mosby Memorial Stadium in Anniston as the city of Anniston presents our FNN High School Football Game of the Week on the NFHS Network.
Advantage Tire and Alignment on Highway 202 in Anniston is so much more than just a new tire and rim shop. There's not enough time in this ad to tell you all the many things they can do to help keep your car in tip-top shape. Advantage Tire uses ASE certified technicians, so you know any work done is top-notch. Bottom line, if it needs repaired or replaced, they can probably do the job and save you money. And when it comes time for new or used tires and rims, Advantage Tire and Alignment prices just can't be beat. Stop in and see Bruce and the crew today. Advantage Tire and Alignment.
Moments away from kickoff, about 5 minutes away from kickoff in the 4A quarterfinals between two of the top teams in Class 4A. As both Anniston and Andalusia practically were in the top 5 of the Alabama Sports Writers Association rankings for most of the season. James Hardy and Coach Chandler Tyree from White Plains with you tonight for the FNN High School Football Game of the Week on the NFHS Network, as we'll be switching over to the NFHS Network shortly for our kickoff of tonight's ball game as the city of Anniston presents our game tonight from the heart of Anniston. Both Anniston and Andalusia, as far as the captains, ready to go out across the way. And so let's go ahead and take a look at some more of our keys for tonight's ball game. And before we do that, looks as if that we are just about set for the opening coin tosses. There you see Anniston and their black tops with the red numbers and letters. You have Javon Thomas, Roscoe Malloy, as well as Jaden Lewis and Raquez McElderry as far as the captains for the Anniston Bulldogs.
All right, I'm your referee, Lamar Futch. This is your umpire, Lee Sims. Anniston, your home team, going to call you the black team. Andalusia, your visiting team, going to call you the white team. Sportsmanship. Let's keep our comments to our own team, okay? All right, I need you to call the coin. That's a heads, and that's tails. I'm going to flip it and catch it. If I drop it, I'll flip it again. I need you to call it now so number 2 can tell me what you called. Heads. He called heads, okay? And it is tails. You want... We want the ball. We want the ball. Which end of the field do you want to defend? We want to defend the scoreboard. All right. Turn your back that way. Turn your back this way. Anniston won.
So there you heard Anniston wins the coin toss and decides to take the football to begin tonight's ball game, as our present temperature at 37 degrees, expected to get down to as low as 34 degrees by the end of tonight's ball game. By far the coldest game of the season, as we'll take a look at some of our keys for tonight's ball game. And really, this is one of those keys, Chandler, that Trent Taylor for Andalusia, their Hall of Fame head coach, mentioned to me one of his main concerns: can his defensive line match up against the Anniston offensive line?
You know, after watching a little film, and obviously I've seen a lot of film on Anniston, that is going to be the matchup. But they do have at defensive end, number 1, Landon Marshall, who's listed at 6'3", 288. That's going to be a tough guy to block for anybody. So I think Anniston may do a lot of reading him. I've learned over the years, if you can't block a guy, you read him. So
there you go. So also for Anniston, obviously they're going to be keying in on workhorse running back Jamarian Burnett for Andalusia. So with that, I think one of those keys, Chandler, is how much pressure can the Anniston defense force on quarterback Jack Lathrop?
You know, when we talked about it earlier, Andalusia's going to be able to run the football. But are they going to be able to suck in that secondary for Anniston and hit some of those chunk plays on play action or something like that? So I think that's going to be the difference in the ball game. If those secondary guys get pulled in and Andalusia's able to hit some big plays over the top, then that could be big in the turning point for the game.
And then finally, before we get to kickoff, simply for Anniston, can they minimize the mistakes as far as not only turnovers but penalties, which in the penalty department they have been prone to do from time to time this year?
I would like to see Anniston line up and run the football. Don't try to be tricky. Go right at them at first, and let's see what that defensive line can do against that veteran offensive line.
So we are just about ready for our kickoff for tonight's ball game, presented by Calhoun County Commissioner Fred Wilson. Come see what Calhoun County has to offer. Whether you're looking to start a business or find a new place to call home, you'll find it all right here in Calhoun County. Also, our first quarter presented by our friends at Advantage Tire and Alignment, and we'll tell you more about them as we progress through the first quarter. So the Anniston Bulldogs won the toss, and they elected to receive as Jaden Dobbins will be the deep man for the Anniston Bulldogs. And the Andalusia Bulldogs kick it off as we are underway in the quarterfinal round of the 4A playoffs, as is an up man taking it, looks like Malachi Taylor down the near sideline, as Anniston will get outstanding field position. Check that, Jalen. It's one of Alabama's high school football's marquee matchups for this week, the last Friday in the month of September, as two heavyweights in Class 4A go to battle from Lott Mosby Memorial Stadium here in Anniston, as the FNN High School Football Game of the Week returns to Lott Mosby Memorial Stadium. Number 2 Handley and number 4 Anniston, our FNN High School Football Game of the Week. Past the halfway point of the 2022 season, and this game practically will determine who gets the top seed and wins Class 4A Region 4, and could propel one of these teams closer, if not to that top spot in the Class 4A Top 10 rankings. As we welcome you in wherever you are watching us from, we appreciate you for joining us in the FNN High School Football Game of the Week. James Hardy with you, along with our cast of thousands, and Coach Paul Harlow once again with us for this week, as we had him just a few weeks ago in our most recent trip to Anniston, as Jacksonville tried to pull off the upset, as Anniston just in our last FNN trip here came from behind in the fourth quarter for that 30-23 victory. And Paul, when you look at tonight, a lot on the line and two outstanding teams set to go to battle.
Right, they're two highly ranked teams, you know, as you said, playing for probably the region championship tonight.
And when you look just at the big picture as far as this matchup, two well-coached teams, but even more importantly, two talent-laden teams as far as Class 4A.
Right, there'll be a lot of athletes on the field tonight for sure. You know, both teams are loaded with athlete speed, so it'll be interesting to see how the game turns out.
And right now, the elephant in the room as far as Handley is concerned, will Jay Haynes be playing tonight? And earlier this week, and from talking to Handley's radio crew, Coach Larry Strain for Handley described Jay Haynes' status as a game-time decision, but in watching some of the pregame warm-ups from Handley, Jay Haynes was fully suited up, looked pretty good out there, so I would imagine, regardless of whether Jay Haynes officially starts or not, young Mr. Haynes, Paul, should be ready to go tonight.
I would think so. With the game this size, magnitude, if he can go, he'll go.
Now, there are a lot of similarities, Paul, as far as these two teams. They've both played some rugged schedules leading up to this week. First for Handley, as they have already played some tough road games at St. James and at Jacksonville, both fine road performances that both, as all of their 6 games have resulted in W's for the Handley Tigers, 48-35 in their second game, first road game of the season at St. James, and then they followed that up with a 54-41 victory at Jacksonville in their first region game, and that was the game that Jay Haynes, Paul, nearly set an Alabama high school state record, single game record, with 485 yards and 5 touchdowns against a really solid Jacksonville squad.
Yeah, I witnessed that game, and he did. He was just like unbelievable running the football. And I think he had 500-something total offense, receiving and everything else. So, and I know he had 1 touchdown call back, but he later on in that same drive ran it in again for a touchdown.
As far as your initial impressions when you saw Jay Haynes, what impressed you the most about him?
Just his speed and able to really, he would start off against Jacksonville, and then he went what I call doorstep to the outside. Once he got to the outside part of around the numbers, man, he could turn it on, and Jacksonville couldn't catch him.
Now, when you look at the Anniston sideline, as we talked about in our last trip here 3 weeks ago, Paul, a lot of talent for Rico White, and you obviously look as far as the 2 SEC commits when it comes to Cam Sandlin, the do-everything quarterback that's committed to South Carolina. But my eye tonight, as far as a key player, would be on Raquez McElderry, as far as yet another Bama commit for Rico White, and someone that Coach White described, Paul, as the most physical player on the team and also one of the most physical players in all of Class 4A.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be a line of scrimmage game. Who can block the other team better? And watching him, and the quarterback Sandlin, against Jacksonville in that fourth quarter where they scored 3 touchdowns in that fourth quarter.
Yes, 22.
Best I remember. And, they just kind of spread it out, and he just got the snap back of the deep and found a hole, and the old line for Anniston just fire off and get a hat on the hat, and he'd find a hole and go. So, it'll be interesting to see, who wins the line of scrimmage, and that's any game. Really who controls that part of the game normally comes out victorious. Turnovers, kicking game, all that factored into it as well.
Now, could you see, Paul, as far as maybe Rico White doing what we saw in the fourth quarter against Jacksonville, having his offense spread things out and really let Cam Sandlin do his thing to start the game?
He may, just put those athletes in space and let's see what we can do. What kind of mismatch we might create, during the game. Handley's got athletes too that might match up with them pretty well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the game unfolds. Once they get started, kind of fill each other out.
Now, these are 2 outstanding programs with great tradition, as we'll take a look at our game notebook for tonight for these 2 programs. As you look at Handley, the defending 4A Region 4 champs officially due to the forfeited wins for Anniston last year, but Anniston a perfect 15-0 as far as their 1989 6A title squad, something which Paul very familiar with.
Yeah, I was fortunate to be a part of that team. Yeah, the assistant coach there.
And also remember, Anniston went on the road down to Roanoke and handed the Tigers a rare home defeat last year, 28-27, somewhere about this time of the year in 2021. And Handley, in addition to Anniston, excellent state title winning tradition. Handley with 3 state championships since 2011. And also Larry Strain was the 2020 FNN Coach of the Year. And we'll certainly have a lot more to tell you as far as these 2 outstanding football programs, as both of these programs 6-0 coming in to tonight. One of these teams will have a loss after this Friday night is over with. But Last week, we went up to Cedar Bluff, our inaugural trip for the FNN Game of the Week as far as our appearance at Cedar Bluff High School, and it wasn't exactly a great showing for Cedar Bluff as Spring Garden showing why they could be a contender as far as the 1A playoffs for that 1A state championship. Here's the snap, and the give will go to Bates off the left side. So he'll get some solid blocking and breaks free down the far sideline. He's going to be a sneak for Chapel Pope. Is he in? And the official indication is yes. Our first pass of the game complete to Cameron Welsh as he'll get around a couple of defenders, go to the middle of the field and get the first down and drags tacklers with him. Pope under center as he'll give it to Bates off the left side as he is in for the touchdown. Here's the deep give to Bates as he'll slip down. Does he lose the football? Fumble on the play, and let's see, does Cedar Bluff get it? And if they do, that is a big, big play in the ball game. And long. As here's the give to Browning, trying to turn the corner, and will cut it back, misses, at least forces a couple of missed tackles and an outstanding run that time. First and 10 at the 32-yard line for Spring Garden. As here's the bubble screen pass to John Welsh. He's stuck immediately. 15 yards to go. As Pope rolls out, he'll throw down the field and has a receiver complete, and that should be good enough for the first down. And him checking out for Cedar Bluff as 2nd and 9. Pump fake, and a receiver all alone down the sideline. And did he stay in bounds? Yes, he did. Here's the throw down the middle, and that is caught complete to Haney as he'll try and outrace the defense at the 20, and he's going to go for the touchdown. The gift to Connor Bates as he'll go off some outstanding blocking as he gets deep into Cedar Bluff territory, and he could go as he'll go into the end zone the second quarter. As here's the give off for the keeper for Pope as he'll get the first down and a whole lot more as he's trying to race toward the end zone at the 10 and trying to get out of another tackle and gets into the end zone for the touchdown. Big plays with especially his role players kind of settling in their roles as McFry goes up and makes the grab. On this drive is in the air as here's the rollout and the throw is complete to Stallings for the first down. Snap and the give to Cameron Welsh as he tries to break free, and he does so. 20, 15, 10, and wrestled down at the 4-yard line. And playing solid football tonight. As here's the bubble screen pass to Cameron Welsh as he'll bang through a defender and gets in. Pack will load up and he'll fire down the sideline, and that's caught at the 30. And going all the way for the touchdown is Aiden Green. The snap gets behind the quarterback. There's a broken play. Looks like the backup in the ball game is rounding the corner, and going into the end zone will be Hunter Stallings for the touchdown with 1 second to go.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now, these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNN Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnn.bank. Member FDIC.
Step into the offices of J. Britt Middlebrook CPA, where you'll find professional one-on-one service for business and individual clients. In this ever-changing tax and economic climate, you can count on receiving the expert advice you need. J. Britt Middlebrook works hard to provide every client what they need to meet all deadlines. Tax season will be here soon. For all your accounting service needs, call or stop by at 1913 Berry Street in Oxford. That's J. Britt Middlebrook, CPA. Advantage Tire and Alignment on Highway 202 in Anniston is so much more than just a new tire and rim shop. There's not enough time in this ad to tell you all the many things they can do to help keep your car in tip-top shape. Advantage Tire uses ASE certified technicians, so you know any work done is top-notch. Bottom line, if it needs repaired or replaced, they can probably do the job and save you money. And when it comes time for new or used tires and rims, Advantage Tire and Alignment prices just can't be beat. Stop in and see Bruce and the crew today. Advantage Tire and Alignment.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
We have one of the marquee games here at Lott Mosby Memorial Stadium, all of any game across the state of Alabama this week. Number 2, Handley. Number 4, Anniston. James Hardy, Paul Farlow, and our very own Jim Jacobs with us, as there's some other big ones across the Yellowhammer State tonight, fellas.
Absolutely. Lots of great football games around the area, and, of course, we've got them all for you right here. Starting with the big ones, it's B.B. Comer and Isabella. A huge region matchup in this one, James. You've got an unbeaten Isabella, twice beaten B.B. Comer. They got kind of bloodied up at Sachs last week. So can Comer get it done at home and maybe lay claim to that potential region title? I think, Jim, if they want to, B.B. Comer wants to win a region title, this is a must-win game for them. And Isabella, as far as having done some high school football in that area of Alabama, fellas, kind of gets overshadowed by the Maplesville Red Devils, and this has been a very consistent Isabella program over the years, but not with the star power that Maplesville has. I think this is going to be a tough game for B.B. Comer, and my gut tells me I think Isabella's going to go on the road and win tonight. That's a stretch. You know, that you got an unbeaten team, and you're saying they're going to go on the road and get it done, right? Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to get it. Let's go to another one. Let's see what your crystal ball tells you about this one. Etowah and Aniana getting after it tonight up in Aniana, and James, 2 really solid football teams here in Class 4A. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've talked about before as far as Aniana going to the state championship last season in Etowah, being a very talented team in Class 4A, a big region game, and one that Etowah, they have enough talent to where if they're playing their best game of the season, they could win at Aniana, but I think even with that, that's a tall task going on the road at a program like Aniana right now and going in there and getting a W. So for that, I say give me the home team in Aniana. Yeah, I think Aniana's pretty safe bet. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, I think so too. Their program, both of them have good programs. I know in the past, but it's pretty tough to win, at Aniana. All right, let's take a look at our next game, and this ought to be a very interesting game. I know